Hey painters! As a contractor, you're usually the one being interviewed by a potential customer. But I also think it's a great idea to ask some questions yourself, just to make sure everyone is on the same page. These are 5 questions a professional painter should be asking their prospective customer. I'm James from thepaintpeople.com, and on this channel, we want to help out the contractors out there just as much as the customers. Our focus is to create content geared towards the pros, do-it-yourselfers, and the ones that are brand new to painting and decorating. We do a few videos every single week, some about paint colors, others about paint, and a few more about how to apply said paint. Whether you're a pro or an average Joe, we got you covered. We previously released a video on questions you should ask a potential painting contractor, and I thought it would only be fair to turn the tables around and provide some questions that the painter should ask. I've probably done close to 1,000 different project estimates, and I found that these questions have saved me a ton of headache and ensured that everyone was on the same page right from the start. So let's get into the first one. What do you want me to paint? The most fundamental question you should be asking a customer is, what do you need painted? Being as detailed about the scope of work as possible will ensure that nothing will be missed. The last thing you want is to show off your awesome paint job throughout the entire house during the final walkthrough, only for the customer to open up the linen closet and ask why you didn't paint it. Be sure to be clear from the very beginning which elements of the home you'll be painting. This includes walls, trims, doors, flat ceilings, stucco ceilings, insides of closets, cabinets, etc. Are there any rooms you need constant access to? This is more so to do with your own personal workflow. Especially on lengthier projects, find out if the customer will be living or working in the space you're painting. Some customers are going to be more flexible than others, so be sure to establish a collaborative rapport with them right from the start. If they're able to spend most of their time in the basement, for example, perhaps save that area for last so they'll have minimal disruptions. Whatever works best for the customer, because the happier they are, the happier you'll be. Would you prefer we use a specific restroom? This one seems a bit silly, but I can assure you it isn't. You shouldn't assume that you have free reign over the entire house and all of its facilities. As a painter, you're there to do a job, but it's also important to minimize the impact on the customer's daily life. Although people will be mostly understanding that they're getting into a renovation situation, you don't want to be too much of a burden when you don't have to be. By allowing the customer to designate a specific restroom for the paint team, it means that they can be in a different area, so there will be minimum disruptions on either side. Do you have a sink that I'm able to rinse my tools in? Similarly to the previous question, don't assume that you can clean up your equipment wherever you want. Ask if there is a sink, perhaps in the basement or the laundry room, that you can use to clean up your tools. With the growing popularity of water-based paint products, soap and water cleanup is becoming more and more prevalent on job sites, which means there's a lot you can clean safely in a large sink. So make sure that the customer is aware of this and comfortable with it as well. Also, try not to start a project by using the customer's sink to clean up your trays and brushes from your previous job. It's always good practice to show up clean and ready to go. What are your expectations with the finished project? This is one of the most important questions you can ask before starting a project. Not every job is created equal, and not all customers are the same either. It's imperative that you manage your client's expectations on what's to be done and how it's to be done. There are people that have used professional painters for decades, and then on the flip side, others that are brand new to it and have no idea what to expect. You also have certain customers that are just doing a quick refresh on a rental property, no big deal, and others that are doing a full-on renovation and need the place to look perfect. They're going to be spending a lot of money, and especially with those big reno projects, the painters are usually the last contractors in there, which also means you're probably at the end of their budget as well. So make sure to keep that in mind. When managing my customers' expectations, I usually implement a 3 feet rule. If the newly painted wall looks great from at least 3 feet away, it's acceptable. If you have to get closer to see small imperfections, those tiny flaws are negligible. Sometimes it's only necessary to plaster any superficial wall damage prior to painting, while other walls, they may need a complete sanding or even a skim coat of plaster. You can explain to your customer these different levels of preparation and also the price difference between each one. The designated 3-foot distance can change from company to company. I've seen some use a 2-foot rule, others a 6-foot rule. After having a client use a magnifying glass to examine the finished walls, I found this rule to be extremely useful for both sides. Know what you're getting into before you open your first can of paint. So now you're hopefully fully equipped with some key questions that'll make sure everyone is on the same page. If you have any other questions that you'd like to add to this list, let us know down below. You can also check out our list for the customers right here. So my painters watching, be prepared to answer some of these questions. Just saying. We do several videos every single week, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. A like would be very much appreciated too. That's it for this video. See you on the next one.